Well, good evening, brothers, sisters, and others. Welcome to what I am officially calling Season 2 of the Digi-Nomad podcast. Just a real quick audio check. Can everybody hear me and see me okay? That would be some good information to have. Somebody could just, let's see, man, the barren lands of Babylon, but grateful, beautiful, yeah. Yeah, I was trying to get a time lapse of the sunset tonight, and it just wasn't going to work. Oh, wait, hold on here. Are you guys seeing me and hearing me right now? Good? Yes, no? Okay. All right. I'm getting better at this every time. So yesterday my original plan for today was to do an actual skills video and skin some of those deer legs I still have from deer season. But I got wrapped up in technological hellscape the other day. Hold on one second, I'm looking for something. So anyway, as I was saying, I got caught up in a technological hellstorm yesterday. Which was not a lot of fun because, those of you who know me know that since I'm a single human business with a little bit of volunteer help on the side, I'm essentially doing the jobs of, 3 full-time people plus a part-time, according to the silly business quiz I took the other day. And there's just so much to remember, and thank God for my remarkable all my reminders. And say what you will about AI, but I probably would not have anywhere near a functioning business right now if it weren't for AI, because it helps me do things like not double book classes, and helps me fix things. It's been really helpful. Am I slightly wary of letting it control my computer? Sure, why the hell not? But I have nothing on there to hide except for good, awesome stuff to teach you and show you and share with you about my life and my father's life and Stalking Wolf's life and many others. Now, if I could just find my knife, which I just had a moment ago. Things you're supposed to get ready before you start teaching. Hold on one second, guys. So, being that I, said there was going to be a skill video, I am going to do some skills, and I'm going to talk about the material here in a little while, because it's a pretty special one to me. But first I wanted to discuss a few things, especially around last week's quote, if you had a chance to read over that at all. That quote was penned by the great and powerful Mr. Frank Hebert, author of the wonderful book series Dune, and his son and his son's friend have since picked up the series again and started writing some new books based on some manuscripts that were found in a safety deposit box. And just it's considered a space opera genre, but there's just so much wonderful information in there that I can sit there and listen to any one of the books in the series numerous times and still glean something new out of it. And every week I'm going to try to do a quote, just, not so much as a homework assignment or anything like that, but just to get your brain thinking in a bit of a different manner. Let's see. How's it going? Mountain Scout Shane. I think I tried to call you earlier, but it went to voicemail. It's good to see you in here, brother. I realized that, after all the things I found out in the recent past, that one of the only ways that I'm going to break free of the both self-imposed prison and the prison that I was tossed in by others, choosing the opposite of the vision on the way to carry my father's legacy forward. I gotta work twice as hard, but I can't work twice as fast because, that old saying, what is it, slow means fat, or I think it was an episode of The Simpsons where Homer changes his name to Max Power to sound more powerful, and he said, there's 3 ways to do things in this world. There's the right way, the wrong way, and the max power way. And the max power way is just the wrong way, but faster. So one thing I've learned in this journey of mine is that pouring a bunch of extra energy into just trying to put content out there, it doesn't necessarily have as profound effect as something that's a little bit more thought out, like these podcasts are. And as of yesterday, so when I originally started my podcast journey, I signed up with a company called Riverside FM because they're supposed to then take my podcast and put it out to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that. But then I misread something about the amount of storage they allow. But after chatting with them for a while yesterday, I figured out I was wrong. So I am going to go back to using that platform, but I'm most likely always going to do the live episode part through my YouTube, which I'll then download to that software and upload it, and then it will send it out there to Apple Podcasts and all those other places where people get their podcast news. But yeah, it's been a week a week of gremlins, especially as I configure my website for this big redo, as we're going to call it. I've had to literally redo my entire like the way I take registrations, and then being that now I'm moving into this very collaborative phase with people, I have to find other ways that people can check out through my website. Let's say somebody is hosting me as a visiting teacher, like I'll talk about here in a little while. Well, all the information about the class and everything is up on their website, and they only come to my website to register for it. So I've had to figure that out as well, which has been fun. But before I go any further, now that I so thankfully and gratefully have a camera again to be able to up my production value, keep me from going insane, and photographing this beautiful, Wisconsin winter wonderland, I can't wait until the weather warms up and some more animals start moving, and the stuff I'm going to create then is going to be completely epic. So before we take a step further, I wanted to share this short little movie I made with you just before start time. So enjoy. Sorry about that, folks. The video I meant to show, when I rendered it, for some reason it rendered a much longer version, and yeah, not what I was going for. So I will fix that and put it in the recording. So yeah, so as I mentioned, the way things are going to happen from now on, every Sunday, the camera should be focused. Better? Better? No, not better. Hold on. This thing is like on movie focus mode. There should be no reason why it is. Hold on. Sorry, gang. Gremlins. Gremlins. Okay, hold on. Just tilt it down a little bit. Hopefully that'll help. And let's see. Let's see. Is that a little bit better? More in focus? I know it's a little darker now. Try the light. Better focus now? Yes, no? This is a weird new one that I have never had a problem with before. One other thing I can try here. Let's try that. How about that? Is that better? Better focus? There's like a 20-second delay, so I have to wait for you to respond. Okay, so right about here. It's good if I sit right here. Yeah, that's weird. It's probably because there's a little bit too, not enough light in here, which is, as you all know, I prefer to do my online things outside. But if we were to go do that right now, where it is, 8 degrees, my gear would freeze up and I would no longer have a working camera. So yeah, I will work on getting that fixed for next time. Oh wait, here we go. Let's see. Why is it? Sounds good, thank you. I just don't get the whole focus thing. There should be no problems. Sorry guys. Trying to make this easy as possible. I don't know why it's not working. Let me try one more thing. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to switch cameras real quick. Just give me 1 second here. Sorry, we'll take a short 2-second break while I solve this issue. Alright, hopefully that works. Back. Alright. So the funny thing is on my screen it looks completely focused, but I'm just not sure why. Everything is on auto everything. Alright. No, the autofocus is on, trust me. I promise you. What I might do is this actually. Let's go old-fashioned manual style. Is that better at all? Still a little blurry. This makes zero sense to me. Anyway, I'm gonna get on with the show. You didn't come here to see my beautiful face anyway. So, before I talk about a little bit about skills and this wonderful raw material I have next to me, the size of which I've never seen before, and these are going to be two very special gifts that are going to go out to future Patreon supporters. A lot of my journey these last few years, it started off with, at first me being my own worst enemy, getting in my way, just the kerfuffling things up for myself. And then at a certain point I began to realize that there were some unseen forces behind the scenes that were purposely trying to prevent me from earning a living as my father's son and a damn fine nature educator with almost 27 years under his belt. And when I let you know the amount of anger and bitterness that I carried around with me for a few years, till it was just this like roiling mass of just disgusting sewage water. And I want to take it back to something my father would always say in the opening lecture of the standard class about how every morning a true student of life, a true tracker, wakes up and they empty their cup, because if our cup is full we can't add anything to it. Or worse yet, if our cup is half full with good, pure, awesome water and half filled with poisonous sewage water, right, you don't have a cup of good water. So I literally broke my morning routine and my morning meditations down into emptying the cup, so to speak. I now take some special steps to do so. So typically the first thing I do is I wake up in the morning, and after I look at my, do my breath work, set my intentions for the day, before I empty my cup from the day before, I kind of sift through it and pick out the gems and the beautiful things, and the bad stuff, goes out with the bathwater, as they say. So I'll spend about 5 minutes just thinking about how much time I wasted, or not even wasted, but how much more accelerated I could have gone with my business or my life skills because I was carrying around all this unresolved pain and quietly, and it was just draining my energy and my momentum, making my Lyme's disease worse, just making everything worse. And something I've learned, as people who are always talking about honoring the lineage and those that came before us, that allowed us to be here at this point in space and time. Let me tell you something. There is a huge difference between honoring the past and being trapped in it. There's a huge difference between honoring the past and being trapped in it. And I now look back at all my past experiences, good, bad, ugly, and everything in between. I honor them all in their own appropriate fashion because they've shaped me into the man that sits here before you today, hopefully in a little bit better focus. I don't know why that's doing that, but... And then, what letting go, think to yourself, like, what letting go of something that's holding you back, what does that look like in practice? It's not just forgetting it, it's not just bypassing it and ignoring it. It is literally melding it and making it a part of your armor. So armor is a bad word. Make a part of your being, because after all, at the end of the day, at the end of our lives, all we are is a summation of our stories that we've been part of over the years. So no matter what happened in your past, good, bad, ugly, everything in between, part of letting the bad stuff go is not just trying to forget about it, but stare at it in that black wall, that black obsidian wall. What does my father say? Staring right back at you is your own reflection. Most of the time, and with me particularly, I was my own and can still be my own worst enemy. But luckily those days are, going faster and faster. Another thing that I've learned a lot about these last few years is growth through friction. And I don't just necessarily mean friction fire, but I mean all of the friction points that made the last few years of my life a living hell. One thing I've learned is that growth rarely happens from a place of safety, security, and comfort. Now, we can use those times to reflect, but the true growth happens in the moment. It's like I tell my students, back when I was teaching in Oregon, I would teach all winter long. And those of you who might be in Oregon know that you got sun season, you got rain season. So I taught in the winter. We were outside all day, very little shelter, and I would tell people how to dress accordingly. Very few people would listen, and I would then have to go into my lessons on embracing the suck. But yeah, these things, these roadblocks that get put up in our way that keep us from finding or achieving our ideal selves, they're very important, because just like here in a minute when I take out my knife and I start carving this beautiful one of the biggest juniper trees ever, just as I remove bits with my knife, I am moving away that I'm carving away the past. But that doesn't mean that these pieces of the past here do not serve a purpose. These in fact serve a very important purpose, and that is reminders not to do it again. Or in the case of the making a fire, I can take these shavings from my bow drill kit or another kit I'm carving, or something else I'm carving, and I can use these shavings to help get my fire going a little faster. I'm going to try one more thing here real quick to perhaps fix the blur issue. 1 second here. Where is it? Let's see. Here we go. Hold on 1 second. Cancel. Oh, I must have deleted my other camera. It still bothers the hell out of me that it's not in focus the way it should be. So yeah, so don't be afraid of your past. Don't be afraid of things in your past. They are in the past. They're gone. But that doesn't mean, people would often accuse me of trying to like literally relive or change my past. Now, come on now. I, of all people, know that, we can't change the past. But what we can do is allow those negative things that happened in the past to guide us to a brighter future. And the role of a struggle, as an educator, rather than a punishment, and that's what reveals the weak parts in your systems and your teaching methodologies and strengthens the real ones. For instance, I have slept in countless, primitive shelters in my life, debris huts, full-size multi-person ones. But I have learned more about the principles of shelter and shelter building, winterizing this fifth-wheel trailer, than I have in just about all my other shelter building experiences. Because it really shows you how temperature and air movement and drafts and things like that can dramatically alter the temperature in a small space like this. If I were to go sit over there where I normally sit, the temperature would drop by about 8 degrees, because when I sit in that part of the slide out, it opens up a big old gap that just lets cold air come rushing in. Anything that's human is mentionable, and anything that is mentionable can be more manageable. Aha! Nice one. Good one there. So don't be afraid of that growth through friction, because, if we're going to be forged into a sharper sword, into a better version of ourselves, there could be a little bit of pain with that. And, those of us who are more aware than the average bear know that heaven is what you make it, and hell is what you go through. And ever since I surrendered the last little bit of it when I got here to Wisconsin and am around people who truly care for me and honor me as a human being that has a wide variety of skill sets, everything from child care to operating heavy equipment, and they recognize that part of me above, Tom Brown Jr. the third, nature educator. It's not saying that they don't appreciate that as well, because I'm now starting to pass that along to their kids. But I, just like all of you, are like that onion I talk about, and my dad used to talk about. See, most people out there in the world, they're satisfied with that surface level observation. It's like when you're peeling onions to chop them up. Once you break that brown outer skin or that red skin, and that those vapors start to get up in your eyes and your eyes start to tear up, it's not a very fun experience. But nothing that is ever really worth anything isn't worth it without a little bit of struggle. It's just one of the things I've finally had the luxury of doing since getting here to Wisconsin, is to go through my financial situation over the last 2 years alone, ever since I realized I was being played like a fiddle. And you want to talk about some like friction and some old hurts. Come sit down and look at a spreadsheet with me. I literally, the amount of money I have spent moving to chase someone's promise or someone's idea for me, when it was really just a pile of dog poo with a nice little bow on top. It has left me in such a state where, even though I'm in a place where I can earn a little bit of money, as you'll hear here in a minute, I do have some classes coming up and I'm going to be putting more up, therefore going to start earning money again. It's left me in a place where I used to be fanatical about going to the dentist because periodontal disease runs in my family. And my health insurance company used to hate me because I would go get 4 cleanings a year. 2 regular cleanings and 2 deep cleanings where they literally like pull your gums away and clean the pockets of bacteria. I haven't been to the dentist in almost 5 years. And in fact, I now have what appears to be a cracked tooth. Right there. Like right where my tongue is. And I've never had a cavity in my life. I don't know where this little cracked bit came from. Maybe I bit down on something. But just the fact that I can't call the dentist and make an appointment and know that I can afford it is disheartening. The same with my glasses. I had the same eyeglasses prescription for the most of my life until I did that photography job for that woman where I was staring at a bright white monitor late into the night for hundreds of hours, and I gave myself snow blindness. So I need to go back to the eye doctor. And the problem with that is my eye problem is mostly in my left eye, not my right eye. So, for instance, in years past, if I wanted to go in and get a new pair of glasses and sunglasses, and this is without insurance, because they have to special order and special cut the lenses, you're looking at, I think the last double pair I got, glasses and sunglasses, was right around $1,400. And that's with $80 frames. And I need to go to the eye doctor so bad to get my eyes checked, to get my prescription adjusted, to get these scratched, beat up glasses that are slowly breaking into a million pieces fixed. Because just like that old, Twilight Zone movie, where the guy, he just wants to read books, and every day at work he goes down into the vault at work and reads his books. And at the end of his lunch break one day, he comes out and he realized that the end of the world has happened and he's the last person left on Earth. And at first he's a little freaked out, and then he realized, oh my God, I finally have all this time to read these books. And just as he goes down to pick up the first book, his glasses fall off his face and they break. So now he's stuck in this apocalyptic wasteland with no way of reading. And, granted, I have improved my eyes a little bit using wide-angle vision, but because of the nature of my eye condition, it doesn't work so well as it would with other people. I wouldn't want to drive without my glasses, or hunt, for instance. Fine doing things that I can see close to my hands. But it's like, I'm trying to budget out this next year, and I'm thinking, like, how in the hell am I supposed to go afford, not only all these other bills and delinquencies that I should never have had, but now I have to come up with an extra, XXX dollars to get new glasses. So if anybody knows any, I've heard there's some online sites now where you can go get an exam pretty cheap somewhere, and they tend to be a lot less inexpensive than a brick and mortar store. Shoot me an email or mention it in the comments, because I'm going to be wanting to check that out. So, and that's why I always try to, with all my struggles, try to speak plainly and without shame. Am I ashamed that I let people take advantage of me to the tune of over $120,000 in the last 5 years? Abso-freaking-lutely. When I think what I could have accomplished with those funds versus just essentially flushing a lot of them down the toilet and having to sell other things on top of it to make ends meet, it's no more. And I can't do it anymore, because it's no way to live. I want to be able to go to bed at night and wake up in the morning and know that my phone is going to be on, and I don't have to deal with an issue with my website. And I get a little bit closer every day. So thank goodness for that. And that's one of the reasons why I started with the Patreon. Because even though I have a space on my website where you can donate, I wanted a platform where I could offer exclusive things to members of specific tiers. So for instance, I just put the first ever photo that I took with my new camera body after not having one for 9 months up on my Patreon page. The photo, when all is said and done, will be about 12 by 14 inches on 3mm styrene backing, and the cost is $100. And that being said, one of the things I'm doing as soon as we get done here is I'm going onto my website and I am reopening the T3 photography section, which will be a rotating gallery of photos. Probably once a month I will change them out, and they will be a combination of both older photos I've taken and new ones. And I'm going to do kind of limited edition runs of certain prints. Nothing will be too super expensive, but if there's one thing I've learned, certain photos look better on certain mediums than others. Bamboo block, especially, for some reason, is just amazing. And I just wanted to take a minute to share my gratitude with a few people. First and foremost, my new community here at Foxwalk Sawmill in Wisconsin has literally restored my faith in humans. Those folks and the one or two other people who for the past 5 years have made it a daily ritual to call me and check in and see how I'm doing and see if I need any advice. Without them, I don't know where I would be. Talk about true friends and true brothers and sisters. It's beyond happy, joy. And because I am now in this place where I know I'm not going to be asked to leave tomorrow and have to pack all this crap up into my Subaru and go who knows where, I'm not I can stay here forever if I want. My friend told me, you want to open a big school here? And got thousands of acres in the state of Wisconsin, we could do it. So stay tuned for some news about that. But the first two classes I want to talk about that are up on the schedule are one that I am running with Mr. Scott Martin in outside of the Black Hills of South Dakota, April 9th through the 14th. It's going to be a very small class, limited to 15 people just because of the size of the site. In the cost of the class, all 3 meals a day are built into that. His wife is going to do the cooking, and I hear she's an amazing cook. And we are going to share our experiences of shelter, water, fire, food, as well as the deeper magical connections that those of us that have the right skill set can share to help you find your path and find your vision. My teaching has evolved over the years in so many ways. I try to always keep an ear to the ground, listen in on people's conversations here and there, onto what they need to be at their best. And these days, my teachings have shifted away from teaching, hard skills as much, although I still teach plenty of those. But I now more teach people skills around healthy, open, honest communication and feedback, and what it means to be a caretaker, what it means to be a true friend, what it means to truly want to see a bright future for every and all being out there for many generations to come. I also, just want to reaffirm that struggle does not negate purpose. Our struggles, if anything, make our purpose that much stronger. So, in this week's homework, I ask you guys to reflect on what things you may need to let go or are just holding on to, even by a little teeny tiger tail, or how's that old saying go? Things that you're holding on to unnecessarily that you can let go, that will allow you to take that next step up. And also do the same with good things, because a lot of times, you've heard the saying, throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? A lot of times people are so hasty and fast in making their decisions about what they're doing with their lives, they don't really analyze it from that place of the eye of the tracker, and get every sacred question the hell out of everything. So think about that, and think about how those things can affect your daily life. These days, my dad was always a big fan of the statement, all that I am is now. And obviously in this like work-a-day, fast-paced world, it's really hard to always be in the now, because, plans got to be made, dates got to be set, things like that. But as much as possible, I try to live my life in like hour-long blocks. I have an overall plan for a week on Sunday night. So tonight is my plan for the week night. I'll sit down with this guy here. I'll sketch out my work for the week. And what's the tiger tail. How's that old saying go? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Right? They get it right? So, yeah. So, a couple other things I would ask of you is, being that, I am going to be using Patreon as a new platform and I'm doing this after consulting with quite a few people who make far greater livings than I ever did in my 27 years of teaching through Patreon and YouTube by they're both artists, and they both teach people how to draw. And you can watch free videos for them how to draw on their YouTube. But if you want to get a little more in depth, you can go to their Patreon and pay $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, and you get access to exclusive information that won't appear anywhere else. And that will be true with my Patreon. Anything that goes up on there, will not, well, shouldn't say it won't appear in other places, but it will just be in different forms. And as a thank you to I think I've had 5 Patreon supporters for like the last 3 years that have been giving me $5 a month. So thank you to those of you, because it's nice. All of a sudden I'll get a message from PayPal that there's $20-something in my account, and I'm super stoked on that. But so one thing I'm gonna do, I'm in the process of changing out my tiers, as far as how much per month gets you what, in order to not burn myself out having to make a bunch of things, whether it be a jewelry or whatever. So you'll see a lot of photo prints up there. But one thing I really want to especially offer is this. And I'm hoping that the camera is focusing a little better now. But so this is a piece of juniper. And this, when it was felled, my friend Zach, he's a sustainable forester. I think at the base, at the time, it had one of the largest, diameters of any juniper ever. Now, a lot of people, they think juniper, they think red cedar. So when I think of juniper, I think of like the small bushes you see around office buildings, or the smaller kind of scrubby cedar-like trees you see in the desert. Juniper berries are one of the places they make gin from, for instance. As far as a bow drill wood, though, it can be a pain in the butt, because a lot of times you're dealing with like old broken down shrubs, and you're only able to get little sections, and you might have to do the plug method. So I was gifted with this, a few pieces of this stuff, and it's really hard to see, I'm sure, but it is just beautiful purple awesomeness. And I'm sure the camera is not even doing it justice at this moment, but this is some really, really special stuff. So I am going to be making 2 bow drill kits that I will be giving out to anybody. If you're already a member of my Patreon and you contribute monthly, that's great, you're automatically included. But I am going to set a date, which I will hold to, because now I'm in a place where I can hold to my word, for the most part. But I'm going to make 2 full bow drill kits, bows, spindles, strings. Handhold might be out of a piece of agate I find up on the shores of one of the Great Lakes, which, oh my goodness, my buddy who lives here, he collects these agates. They're some of the oldest rocks on the earth, like 1.5 billion years old, and they are beautiful. And I can't wait to go up and find a few that I can use as hand drills. But yeah, so with your bow drill kit, will come all the important parts, things like your spindle, we've got the makings of spindle number 1 here. And remember, I think is I'm not sure the first person I heard say this, but carve the corners. If you want to take a square piece of wood and get it round, carve the corners. So yeah, so I'll turn this into a spindle. I'll turn the rest of this other piece into 2 spindles. And then I have another piece that will be made, that the fireboards will be made out of. Now, don't fool yourself into thinking that I'm sending you like the easiest bow drill kit on the planet, because it smells so good. It smells like a combination of pine barren cedar and like western red cedar almost. But normally juniper is incredibly difficult because you're using small sections for plugs, but I'm hoping because this has some pretty thick growth rings that it'll be more like cedar or basswood or something in that kind of middle range of difficulty. So, I'm of course going to make myself a set to test out first. And then let's see here, I'm going to program it in my phone right now. In 1 month from today, I will announce the winners of the bow drill kits. 1 month. Let's see. Mark. And so, let's see. Today is the 11th. So, let's say Valentine's Day. Be a good Valentine's Day present. So yeah, so sometime between now and Valentine's Day, if you choose to contribute to my Patreon. And one thing I especially ask too is that you help me spread the word about my Patreon, because I have been so bashed and falsely lied about in social media that even if I had the money to spend on advertising and marketing and all that stuff, I'm not even allowed to do it, and I'm not even given a reason why. And I don't physically have the time to sit and play wait on hold or wait for a chat or wait for an email. So I just keep using social media the way I always did, and hopefully one day the algorithm will realize I am not a cybersecurity threat. And when I post a picture of a bird, it is not pornography. The funniest one ever was last November. I posted a thing about how great it felt to be in California and around a bunch of new wildlife. And I was so excited to get out and explore. And somebody literally flagged it as a pornographic movie. And I have 29 legal pages of posts of mine that have been flagged by some random group of people who seems to not want my voice to be heard by the world. And really that just makes me sad, because I know that's the last thing my father would want. And as far as you all, my friends and students, I have been gifted such amazing new tools and toys, we'll call them, to work with in all realms of what I do, from the skills to the scout skills to the spiritual skills, over these last 5 years of struggle, that I'm still trying to put words to a lot of these teachings, because they were given to me without words. And those we will start to get into once we can get outside a little bit more. As the days increase in light, be able to set up right outside, and I can actually physically show you some of these things outside. But yeah, I think, what is it, like every day 7 minutes gets added to the day. So yeah, so there we go. So there's almost one spindle nearly completely done. And if you'll notice, something I always tell all my students, I'm not like trying to rip huge chunks off of this. I am simply realizing that in my hand I am holding a piece of solid wind and sunshine and rain that stood in one place for over 50 years. And now I'm going to carve it and shape it in a certain way, spin it around with a bow, and I'm going to release that solar energy that was stored in it and make a fire. So yeah, this will come with a handmade bow, with my patent pending special bow drill tying knot to make loosening and tightening the string that much easier, and handhold, as well as a video if you happen to win and have never been taught bow drill in a one-on-one setting. So I'll include that as well. Also with Patreon, I think it's I can't tell off the top of my head, but I'm carving off camera. Sorry, my little, it's so weird because on my little screen it looks like I'm right in the camera. So I am doing a special live stream strictly through Patreon that is open to everybody and anybody who wants to attend. I think I put it for Friday. I don't know. It's sometime this week. I will put notes about it in the show notes as soon as I hit stop record here in a second, and you can go on and check out the live stream there. Because once again, I'm doing the best I can with the tools, information, and resources at my disposal. And several people mentioned Patreon to me over the years, so I think it's time to give it a go. But yeah, this stuff is, smells so good, and it's hard to tell in here, but it's so purple. I'm curious to see if that changes at all with sunlight, the way Osage orange. It's really orange when you carve it, but my Osage bow drill bow that I've been using for going on 20 something years now is super dark in color, and that's just from the sun doing that. So yeah, I'm curious to see what this turns into, how it is as a full-size bow drill kit, being that I've never got to make one out of juniper before. And like I said, don't confuse juniper and red cedar, because they are different. But yeah, I'm just really anxious to get at this now, and I'm also tempted to include a hand drill kit as well as one of the prizes. So I'll include a link to my Patreon page in the show notes. There's one on the main page of my YouTube, and I'm getting ready to redo all of the tiers as far as what you get for what you give, to make it a little bit more balanced. In closing, I want to say that tomorrow morning, hopefully if not the morning after, you should receive my latest blog post in your inbox or in a social media near you. There will be some thoughts and some concrete information on how you register, and go check out the description for the class that I'm doing through the School of Self-Reliance, ran by Mr. Christopher Neer, just down down near LA. I was so honored when he called me and asked me to be a visiting mobile instructor. He's also going to interview me and then sell the interview to an outdoor magazine, so I can tell my side of the story about what's happened over the last few years, so that everything is public record, because I'm holding on to some things that I can't continue to hold on to, or they're just going to hold me back. So that being said, next Sunday as well, I will make sure that those deer legs are thawed out, because I need to start gathering and drying some sinew, because I have an atlatl project that I want to finish up, and I have a good friend, Ginger, who I want to send some fresh deer sinew to, freshly dried deer sinew. And I've got a whole bunch of other projects that are going to require it for cordage and sewing and things like that. So with that, I'd like to say thank you all again for tuning in on another chilly Sunday night, and I can't wait as the days get longer and we can move back outside and we won't have to deal with stupid focus issues, which this is just irking the hell out of me. So days get longer, T3 gets funner, and I can't wait to go just explore some of this area, because even though I've been in Wisconsin before, I haven't really got to explore much of it. Let me see if there's any question. Yeah, sorry about that. I literally have no idea why it's it's like that, because I can't see the whatchamacallit. I can see what I'm seeing, but I can't see what you're seeing, and that really kind of bothers me. And so I need yet another thing I need to learn how to do in these coming days. So apologies for that. I will be sure. That might be it. It says stuck between. I'll have to look into that later. So apologies for the blurriness. I've never had this happen before. It's most likely a camera setting, as I reprogram my new camera to be like my old camera. So thank you for putting up with it. After all, it's the words that matters. And I will, if available, I will send some. I'll send some awesome photos of the bow drill kits as they slowly take shape. That being said, one last thing. A while ago, years ago, I started making 2 oak throwing sticks that I was raffling off at $20 a ticket. Now I still have those sticks, and now I'm just getting to a time to where I can actually start working on them again. So I may open that auction back up, because not too many people signed up for it because it was pretty poorly put together. But those are going to be one-of-a-kind throwing pieces of art. Throwable art, we'll call it. All right, everybody. Until next time, peace, love, joy, and purpose to you all. And don't forget to be a good human, be a caretaker, be a friend. Truly listen to somebody, even if you think that what they're telling you is a load of hoo-ha. It's very real to them. So you owe it to them to try to literally step into their shoes and feel what they're feeling at that moment in space and time. Alright, y'all. So yeah, I will see you next at the Patreon live stream, which I'll put in the show notes and is already up on social media, I think, and some other good information as well, and some photos. And as always, I update the front page of my website, trackalites.com, every 3 days, usually with a short video, sometimes with photos and some writing, just to kind of give you guys a regular report on what I'm up to, as I finally now feel like I'm actually rebuilding my life after the hellstorm that I've been through. Alright, y'all. Peace, love, joy, purpose beyond self, as always, to you all. And until next time, I love you all. I think about you all. And everything I do is for you. Everything I've gone through is for you. Because sure as hell I haven't done it for myself. It has been a wild ride though. But anyway, I appreciate you all so much. Thank you and have a wonderful night.